Off. It's being spoken by Bhaktivinoda Thakur through the voice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gora Chandra means Lord Chaitanya, and Bole means that he's speaking. And what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, speaking to the living entities, he said, Jeev Jago, which means wake up. So he's waking up the soul that's sleeping. Kota Nidra, Jao Maya, Pisha Chira Kole. So he's asking the question, how long do you intend to go on sleeping, Nidra, in the lap of Maya, of illusion, as if you ran away from home, from perfectly good home, loving parents, got taken in by abusive foster parents, and it's like, how long are you going to stay there and be abused? Then Bajibo Bolia Eshe Samsara Vitare Bhulia Rohile Tumi Avidyara Bhare. This is a reminder that you're in this process of samsara, which means you keep ending up in the same place over and over again because of your ignorance, and the soul enters into the womb of a mother and then prays that if I come out from here, I will surely worship you, my Lord. But he says, you've forgotten this promise. So now I'm reminding you. Now that you have the consciousness, take it up now. Tomare loite ami hoinu avatar. Ami bina bandhu ara ke ache tomara. So he's saying here that I've descended as an avatar. I've descended as an avatar. Avatar means one who comes from a higher position down to a lower position to save us. He says, Ami bhina bandhu. Without me, who else is your friend in this world? And then what we discussed this morning, Enechi ashaudhimaya nashi bharalagi harina mahamantra lau tumi magi. So everyone say magi. Magi. Magi means to beg. So he's saying that I've brought the medicine. And medicine is Harinam Mahamantra. And Lao Tumi Magi. So he tells us then beg for it. Try to get this medicine. Finally, Bhaktivinoda Prabhu Charani Puriya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur fell at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. She Harinam Mantra Loi Lo Magia. He said, I begged for the holy name and therefore I received it. Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole, Kota Nidra Jao Maya, Pisha Chira Kole. Sansara Bhikare Guliaro Hile Tu Avidyara Bhare Hoinu Avatara. Amigina Bandhu Aro Kea Chetomara. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Enechiha Shauri Maya Nashibaro Lagi. Harinam Mahamantra loud to me Magi. Harinam Mahamantra. One more time. Harinam Mahamantra loud to me Magi. Harinam Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thakur Bhakti Vinora Prabhu Sharane Puriya. Thakur Bhakti Shri Hari Nama Mantra Loilo Magiya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur felt the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He begged for the Maha Mantra and he received it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan, Giridhari Gopinath, Madan Mohan, Chaitanya Nityananda, Sri Advaita Sita, Hare Guru Vaishnava, Bhagavata Gita, Shri Vipchi Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath, H.I. Gosaya Kori Sharanavandana, Jahahati Vignanash Apishta Puran, H.I. Gosai Jar Muitar Das, Tansavara Pararenu Mora Panchagras, Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas, Janame Ho E Avila, Ejai Gosai Jabe Rajkolabas, Radha Krishna Jalila Koila Prakash, Shri Radha Krishna Jalila Koila Prakash. Get ready. Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan, Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan, Bhaja Vrindavan, Bhaja Vrindavan, Bhaja Vrindavan, Bhaja Vrindavan, Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan, Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Bhajaniyaman, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kori Ash, Harinam Sankirtan Kohe Narottamo Das, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Next list. Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Gopala, Radhe Gopala, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madhava, Radha Radha Gopinatha, Radha Gopinatha, Radha Gopinallabha, Radha Gopinallabha, Radha Kishora, Kishora Gopinatha, Radha Kishora Gopinatha, Radha Kunjabihari, Radha Kunjabihari, Radha Landaneshwara, Radha Landaneshwara, Hari Giridhari, Chandarika Girihari, Nila Madhava, Radha Patisarthi, Radha Patisarthi, Radha Radha Ramana, Radha Ramana, Radha Rasbihari, Radha Shamasundar, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Rukmini Dwatarish, Kishore Kishori, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Kala Chanji, Bhagare, hey, Govinda Gopala Hare, I say Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Om Vishwabhat Brahmhamsa Parivadi Kachakya Shri Shriman Abhay Charanad Avinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishwabhat Paramahamsa Parivadi Kachakya Shri Shriman Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavi Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Nam Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Navaditam Ki Jai Shri Ranganapuri Nam Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Sambhita Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Glories to some devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. Gaur Premanande Haribol. Srimad Bhagavatam class. Naimisharanya. He's always fixing it. It takes half an hour before you start any kirtan. What note is it? It's C sharp. It'll be alright. But that won't. Has a mind of its own. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. If all else fails, choose Bina. Cheap and best. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Bandhava Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. We're reading today from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 52. And we're taking up at text number 43? 43? Yasangu pankaja rajasnapanam mahanto vachantuma patirivatmatamo pahatyai yaryam bujakshana labeya vavat prasadam jahyam asun ratakrushan shata janmabhi syat. So this is one of the prayers in the letter that Rukmini wrote to Krishna. And she says, O lotus-eyed one, great souls like Lord Shiva hanker to bathe in the dust of your lotus feet and thereby destroy their ignorance. If I cannot obtain your mercy, I shall simply give up my vital force, which will have become weak from the severe penances I will perform. Then after hundreds of lifetimes of endeavor, I may obtain your mercy. Purport. The divine Rukmini's extraordinary dedication to Sri Krishna is possible only on the spiritual platform, not in the fragile world of mundane affection. Could we have our verses that precede the Bhagavatam? These verses are spoken by great acharyas in reverence as they approach their writing of commentaries to the Bhagavatam. And we can take advantage of these sages. Kurvanti Govatsa Padam Bababdim. This is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam Tvayam bujaksha kila satvadamni samadhi naveshit chetasaike tvat pada putena mahatkritena kurvanti govatsa padam bababdim. Any art or discipline or skill is best learned by following in the footsteps of those who are already expert in them. And we are advised in the Bhagavatam to follow the previous sages. As in the first canto, second chapter of Bhagavatam, a verse you all know, because practically you've gotten the 34 now, right? Yes?
Yes.
Bejire muneyo tagre vagavantam adhoksajam. This means, Bejire means to worship. Bejire muneyo agre. Agre means previously, and muneya means those who are great sages and thinkers. So previously, all of them worshipped. They did worship to Bejare muni tagre bhagavantam adhoksajam. They worshipped Krishna, adhoksaja. Adhoksaja means one who's beyond the description. All the way through the alphabet, it's beyond the alphabet what you can describe. Adhoksaja, Krishna. They worshipped him. Why? Because Shemaya, they would attain the highest benefit because he's beyond the three modes of material nature. And then it says, Bejare muniyo tagre bhagavan hamad huksajan satvam bishudham shemaya kolpante ye nutaniha. Anu means to follow. So if we follow those sages, albeit imperfectly, if we're still following, then we're able to cross over the ocean. We get the same benefit, the same destination they got by following in their footsteps to the best of our ability. And in the verse I mentioned just before that, it is said, Kurvanti govatsa paramavabdim, that you can actually cross the ocean of material existence. How? By tvat pada potena mahatkritena. Mahatkritena means that you follow the mahats. Mahats means the great teachers, or it means Krishna. And if you follow, you try the best you can to follow, then the great ocean of material existence, which is very difficult to overcome. For instance, very difficult to overcome the smartphone. And I heard that the people from the past generations, they can't give up the smartphone. But if you're able to follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas and become attracted to Hare Krishna, and you like hearing Bhagavatam more than you like looking at TikTok, then gradually then you can step over that ocean of the smartphone. It's an ocean in there, and you can step over it easily and come to the position of nishta, steadiness, and only wanting Krishna. So these prayers are from the great acharyas. They said them out of emotion for approaching the Bhagavatam, so we'll say them too. Sarva Bhagavata Prana. What's that? How come we're going to a different thing? I mean, this is fine, but didn't we have a process? Is somebody else in the booth? Remember, we did the verses from Sridhar Swami? Those verses? Remember? Sridhar Swami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur? You guys already memorized them, you see. That's what happens when you're an Aryan. I mean, these are nice too. We can add them on. But I just had something else in mind. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama. Bhagavat Ishis Lokanvaya Lokabhavana Leelavataranu Devatirya Naradishu Asau Gunamaya Bhavir Bhuta Sukshmendriya Abhi So nirmitation nirvishto bhunte bhuteshu tatmanan. Yatha yavahito vanir darushveka swayonishu nani va padivishvatma bhuteshu chatata puman. Hiya vilashteshveshu guneshu gunavaniva antapravishta bhati vijnanena vrajamrita. That's divinity and divine service backwards, which you have to get to 34, forwards and backwards. So you might as well start practicing. Okay, let's say these prayers. I worship Lord Nrsimha, within whose mouth reside the great masters of eloquence, upon whose chest resides the goddess of fortune, and within whose heart resides the divine potency of consciousness. Desiring to purify my sampradaya and being bound by duty, I will briefly comment on the prayers of the personified Vedas to the best of my realization. Inasmuch as Srimad Bhagavatam has already been perfectly honored by my predecessors' explanations, I can only gather together remnants of what they have honored. The saintly devotees may laugh at me for becoming a jewel merchant, though I know nothing about precious jewels, but I feel no shame, for at least I may entertain them. Though I have no wisdom, devotion, or detachment, I am still greedy to take the philosopher's stone of the Vedas prayers from the fortress in which it is being kept. If the wind of indiscretion, my failure to acknowledge my lowly position, threatens to knock me down, then while writing this commentary, I must hold on to the effulgent pillars of the feet of Sridhar Swami, Sanatana Goswami, and Lord Sri Krishna. Repeatedly bowing down to my divine spiritual master, and to Lord Sri Krishna, the ocean of mercy, I take shelter of Sri Shukadeva Goswami, the protector of the world and its universal eye. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. And after respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and all the assembled devotees. Vancha kalpataruscha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam bhavanibhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So this is the last of the statements that Rukmini makes when she's sending a message, a letter to Krishna. And she hasn't met him yet, but she heard about him sufficiently to have fixed her mind and heart on him and to not want to marry anyone else. She also, as you remember from last week, gave Krishna a strategy through which it would be practical for him to kidnap her at her own wedding. She had been betrothed to Shishupal. Shishupal is famous, but we would call it infamous in our circle because his lot in life and his entire being was absorbed in criticizing Krishna. When he was a baby and he first learned to talk, and his parents were saying, "Come on, come on, come on," the first words that came out of his mouth were not Ama Appa or Mama Papa. They were, "I don't like Krishna," and other such criticisms of Krishna or expressions of disrespect for him. And the brother of Rukmini was friends with Shishupal. So this was a problem because her father, Rukmini's father, gave deference to his son, and therefore, although he didn't like Shishupal either, he went along with it. So this was this situation. If anybody's been in any such situation, you can perhaps relate to it. And so what did Rukmini do? She prayed to Krishna, and she wrote a letter, and she sent it through a brahmana. The brahmana dutifully carried it to Krishna, and back then, like on WhatsApp, you couldn't see those two little arrows come. And then sometimes if somebody turned off the notification where you can tell whether they read it or not. Sometimes you'll send an important message, like, what do they really think of me? And then you don't see the arrows light up, or you think maybe they read it, maybe they didn't. But they didn't have internet back then. And once the Brahman was gone, Rukmini was left just to think about whether or not Krishna had received it, because the Brahman had to go cross-country and meet Krishna and actually deliver the message. And then, whether Krishna was favorable or not, she didn't get that message back either. And she didn't until the day of the wedding. She had suggested, as we read last week, that there was a time during the wedding ceremony, which she knew well because she had attended others in her family, when she would be open to be kidnapped. There's a alleyway that she would walk down right after she worshipped Durga, asking for Krishna as her husband. And then Krishna could come with some of his soldiers and scoop her up and take her away. So he did that, and she didn't know it until the last moment when she came out and she saw Krishna there amongst the crowd, amidst the crowd, and he came in and took her away. So the mood of this last prayer is important. First of all, she says that his lotus feet, yasyangri pankaja raja snapanam mahanto, they're desired by even great personalities like Lord Shiva. And what does Lord Shiva want? He wants yasyangri pankaja raja. Raja means dust. Snapanam means a bath. Mahanto. So Mahanto means great souls. So the greatest of all souls, like beginning with Lord Shiva, what they desire is to take a bath in the dust of Krishna's lotus feet. So this is how she first reverentially addresses Krishna. And then she says, Vachantyuma patir ivatma tamo pahatyai. And this is that they, those great souls, vachanti, their desire is that they can get the dust of your lotus feet. And he names Lord Shiva as the husband of the goddess Umapati. And then says, Yar Yambujaksha Nalabeya. So it says to Krishna that addresses him as Ambujaksha, as lotus-eyed, and says that Labeya, like Labha, if I cannot obtain you, if I can't get you as my husband, Yar Yambujaksha, O lotus-eyed one, Labeya, Bhavat prasadam. If I cannot get your mercy in this way, the Jayam Asun. So Jayam Asun, Vrata Krishan, means that I'll be ready to give up my life heirs by doing vrats. I'll do these very austere penances in order to attract your attention. This is what I'm ready for. Vrata Krishan. And because of them, Krishan means I'll be weakened. And Shata Janmabi Syat, it means that I'll do this for many, many lifetimes. That's what my determination is. If it doesn't work in this life, I'll do it in the next life. If it doesn't work then, I'll do it in the life after that. And I'll keep doing it, these severe penances. And they'll be so austere that I'll give up my life heir because of them. And I'll take another body. And then I'll start over again. And then, Syat. And at that time, when your mercy comes to me, then I'll stop doing these penances. That's what I'm prepared to do. So this is described in the purport as extraordinary dedication. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that one has to have such extraordinary dedication in order to attain him, and only one who is established in the mode of goodness and has given up sinful activities. They put everything else aside in their life, and now they're Dritavrata. Drita means determined, and vrata, they have a vrat in life, that I'm going to attain Krishna. So one must have this sense of Dritavrata, that my vow in life is to attain Krishna somehow or other. And the somehow or other is also important because things don't always go the way we expect them to go. We may have a plan, but then there may be an obstacle to our plan. But one must keep this determination regardless of the obstacle, that still my vrat is I'm going to attain Krishna somehow or other. A sign of a weak determination is that I can't do this because, and then you have a long list of excuses why it can't be done. Because, is there any excuses you can put? Huh? I'm busy. I have work. I'm sick. I'm what? I'm tired. I'm what? I need more money. Huh? I'm late. There are lots of excuses to make. But when one comes to this determination, Krishna says, Bahunam janmanamante jnanavamam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. That one becomes aware of the fact that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, that there is nothing else to attain of value in this lifetime except for Krishna. Then after many births and deaths, one may develop this mood. As Prabhupada says about Prahlad Maharaj when he's praying to Lord Nrsingadev with such determination that this is not ordinary. This kind of determination comes only to one who's very fortunate in life. Otherwise, people aren't interested in Krishna, or they're little interested, and they can take him or leave him. Something else may be more pressing or important in their life. But we get the example of Rukmini, of how it is that one attains Krishna. One must have this sense, do or die. And there's a story of one of the explorers. Those of you who just did reports on the explorers can tell us who it was, who, when he brought his ships to shore, he had ordered them burned. You can look it up. He had ordered them burned because he knew then that the soldiers that he had brought with him would have this mood that, well, now we have to do or die, because there's no going back. And once when Gaura Das Babaji was chanting, where he used to chant in a field where he'd be away from all people. People, especially in India and especially at that time, would come for Ashirvad. When they knew there was a saint somewhere that was dedicated to doing bhajan all day long, they would rightly revere such a person, but then they would come and ask for some. Ashirvad means give me some blessing. And so one day this very wealthy man, as the story goes, in the biography of Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj, had come there to meet him with the intention that he would give Babaji Maharaj some gift. After all, he was wealthy, so he thought, how much could he want? Because maybe I'll build him a little house or something like that, and that's not going to cost that much. And I'll ask him, please, you be my guru. And Prabhupada said, don't approach the guru as you're taking a pet from the pet store. That I have here, Guruji. It's like, you have a little dog, you parade around, and it's like, yeah, what kind of dog is he? It's like, I think he's a Pomeranian plus Labrador or something like that. And you just show him off and say, yeah, I have a guru. That's not the idea of guru. Guru means that one has become serious about crossing the ocean of birth and death, and approaches and say that I can't do without this. I can't do without you. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had approached his guru at the urging of his father, who was his Shiksha guru. He had approached Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj in contrast to the story I'm about to tell. Don't worry, I didn't forget. And he had asked for his shelter. And his guru said, who am I? I can't read or write. I'm illiterate. You're a great scholar. And I'm just, how could I give you any? No. Sadhus are like that. You can't judge what's in their mind. He just said no. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta came back several times, and finally he said that there's a bridge nearby. If you don't give me your shelter, I'll jump. And he was serious. So finally Babaji Maharaj gave him his shelter and initiation. So one should approach like that, as Prabhupada's godbrother, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, used to famously say that don't go to the guru cutting a return ticket. You go there with one-way ticket. Not that like, okay, if this doesn't work out, I'm leaving. It's only one way. It's like sometimes people get a one-way ticket to some place. It's like, when's your return ticket? It's like, I don't have one. So this one wealthy gentleman, he wanted a pet guru, and he figured he's the best. Everybody knows he's the best. So I have everything. All I need now is one guru to add to my portfolio. So he went there, and he obsequiously, you can look that up, had bowed down flat on the ground, like a stick, in front of Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj, and begged, please, you give me your mercy. But those who are fully absorbed in sincere bhajan to Krishna, they can sense the mood or the intention of those around them, as much as those who don't eat garlic can smell the odor of garlic in Mangalartik. If someone had a Domino's pizza the night before and then they walk in, they can stand at the very back of the room, and the people in front will turn around and say, who ate garlic? It comes out from the pores. And similarly, the intention of the devotee who has decided once and for all, no return ticket, I'm going fully to surrender to my guru. There's no two ways, there's only one way. Tasmad Guru Prapadyeta. Therefore, say the Yogendras, you should conclude this. Tasmad, therefore, Guru Prapadyeta. So this man came, and he obsequiously means, we need a permanent microphone for our research department. We can invest in that.
Obsequious, adjective from the late 15th century, prompt to serve, meekly compliant with the will or wishes of another, dutiful. Comes from Latin obsequium, compliance, dutiful service, and obsequi, to accommodate oneself to the will of another.
Any other thing?
Ob means to follow. Seek, from Proto-Indo-European root, to follow. Yeah.
And in this context, he did so insincerely, because his real idea was, as I already mentioned. So he said, do you please accept me? And I will give you some dakshina. Dakshina means, as Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, when somebody does a yajna, the yajna is not complete until the recipient, yajamana, gives something, some donation. That completes it, completes the circle. That's why when we go on book distribution, we don't just hand over something for free. We always ask for something in return. And even if they don't have something to give in return, at least they should understand the value of what they're getting. Otherwise, they don't take it seriously. So Babaji Maharaj said, yes, okay, I can ask one thing for dakshina. And yes, Guruji, whatever it is. Still he's thinking like, build him a little house, build him a little house. He said, you stay here with me in this field and you don't go home. And that man, he fled from that place on some pretense. I was like, yeah, I'll be right back. It's the last thing that he wanted to hear. But for those like Rukmini, Vrata Krishan, they're ready to run themselves ragged for this vrata. That's the first thing they want to hear. I accept you and don't go home. Just stay here. Because it's such a relief to have someone that says, don't go back. I remember coming to the Krishna consciousness movement myself. I was quite unimpressed with the way the world was going. I didn't know how to change it, and I didn't like it very much. And I didn't have the wherewithal to navigate my way through all the complexities. So when I was given an alternative, which was, you come here, you just chant Hare Krishna, take a little prasadam, and do some service, and you don't have to go home. And I thought, okay. That sounds like a good plan. And it's such a relief to have the great souls say like, no, just be done with the whole thing. You drop that other thing. It's fine. You can take shelter amongst us and just take your whole life, your whole heart, you give it here, no problem. And when somebody who has that inclination hears that, then they feel, oh yeah, great relief. Then I'll just do that. I'll just be with these people. There's no problem in that. So this is the determination of Rukmini. She had already decided in her heart. The initiation Prabhupada says he got from his spiritual master. It started the day when he met him. And for those of you who are coming on the yatra, we'll go there together. Prabhupada met his spiritual master in a place called Ultadunga Junction Road. Where is it? Ultadunga Junction Road. Say it 3 times. Ultadunga Junction Road. Ultadunga Junction Road. It's like in The Wizard of Oz, when, what's her name? Dorothy? Before she comes back to her house, she had gone into Wonderland and she was clicking her heels. She said, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. And I think, Ultadunga Junction Road. Ultadunga. Srila Prabhupada had grown up in a family of pure devotees. His father, as Prabhupada writes in the Krishna book introduction, is a pure devotee in his own right. He was very liberal also. He invited every sadhu to the house. And he also, to accommodate some of the sadhus, he had a hookah. You know what a hookah is? Everyone knows what a hookah is. He had a hookah because some sadhus, you'll even see them, they'll sit under a peepal tree and they worship Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva smokes ganja, so they'll sit there and they'll smoke lots of ganja, and if you see them, they're like... And so some of these sadhus would come to the house because on the prompting of Gaur Mohan Dey, Srila Prabhupada's father, he said, please come to our house, please come to our house. He would take in any sadhu, and then when he would feed them, give them hookah, not all of them took hookah, some of them were different, then he would say, please bless my son. What kind of blessing do you want? Bless him that he'll become a pure devotee of Srimati Radharani. This is the object of worship for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We worship Krishna because he's with Srimati Radharani. And so Prabhupada had seen, he said later, enough charlatan sadhus that he wasn't impressed. He thought, where is there really a sadhu in this world? And he had been in school, and in school he got involved in the Gandhi movement and so forth. And he had this sense of, let's first move our political agenda forward, and then we can take up spiritual life, because how will anybody listen to the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or anything from India if they're under the subjugation of the British Crown? It had become a great embarrassment, and through the East India Trading Company, practically the country had been pillaged. There had been so many so-called scholars who came there from the West trying to undermine the philosophy, even of the Bhagavat, systematically, to dissuade people from taking to the Bhagavat culture. And so he was doubtful about seeing a real sadhu, but one of his friends said, no, this one's different. And he had brought his friend, who later became our founder Acharya, to this place where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta stayed. And that place was in a very downtrodden part of town, according to Prabhupada. It was like a slum at that time. And all the devotees there from the Gaudiya Math, they were packed in that place, like sardines. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta used to say that they were happy there because they were all preaching, packed in. And in a lowly part of town, he said, we didn't have that much money or resource. One devotee from the Gaudiya Math from that time said, barely we could afford rice, which is a great hyperbole. In Bengal, rice grows everywhere. So how could you not afford a bag of rice? But that's what he said. And so, thank you. That place, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was sitting on the second floor giving darshan, and he would sit there as an open patio, now that you'll see. And he sat on that seat. And there's a stairway that goes up. I think it's 26 steps. I counted them when we were there. They're the same steps, because the expert, beyond expert devotee, like Prabhupada said the other day, I heard him, he said, deity worship should be first class. And then he said, no, better than first class. So the devotee who restored that building, it's first class. No, better than first class. He took all the original stones, everything, and reconstituted them. Any place that was missing, it was too crumbled to use in the restoration of the building. And they recreated the elements using the original method that was used when the building was constructed hundreds of years ago. And so now when you go there, the place is pristine. You'll never see a cleaner, more organized and flawless place in your life, and it's the same building, the same materials that was there when Srila Prabhupada walked up to meet his Guru Maharaj on the second floor. So Prabhupada remembers that his friend dragged him there. And then he made the ascent to the second floor, and the same steps are there, and you can see through. There's some effect they had so you can see through to the stairs. They're protected a little bit by some kind of covering, but you can see the stone. And you can walk on those stones, you can touch those stones, and imagine what that was like, walking up. And then his guru was sitting there in the open area speaking. And so his friend and he and perhaps one other came in, and they bowed down, as every child in India learns, JJ, do JJ. From the time they're born, do JJ. So they're used to, they bow down. So they all bowed down to this holy person. And before they could come back up again, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, you should spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You are all educated. You should spread. So Prabhupada gave some argument. He said, yes, but India is under subjugation. Who will listen to us? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said there's no impediment for the spreading of the Sankirtan movement. It's under the internal energy. It has nothing to do with the condition of the external world. And he said so many reassuring things, and it was his stature as he delivered what he said to those young men and what came from his heart that transformed Srila Prabhupada in such a sense, such a way that he said that at that moment I accepted him in my heart as my Guru Maharaj. And he kept that in his heart for some years. It incubated because he went home and he thought, I have these kids, I have this business, I'm entangled, what can I do? But he held it there. And it grew and grew and grew until he was at the threshold of initiation, and he had visited his Guru Maharaj a couple of times, and his Guru said, I had marked him, that he has this serious nature, Vrata Krishna. He'll come the extra mile, even though the extra mile was smaller than Prabhupada had wanted, because when he went to see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, for instance, at a yatra, he was only able to go 1 day out of 10. That's how busy he was. But in that 1 day, he leaned in so hard that his Guru said, who is that? Who is that leaning in so hard? And later on, when the temple president there in Allahabad recommended Prabhupada for initiation, Srila Bhakti, yes, I know him. He's the one who leans in so hard. You can see it. If somebody has that vrata, in fact, it's mentioned in the teachings that Krishna gave to Uddhava before he left the world, that Uddhava was leaning in. There's a phrase for it in Sanskrit, that he was leaning in like this. You know, lean in. He's leaning in so hard to listen. So this is the mood of somebody who's given up the conception that I'm going to keep one foot in the material world, one in the spiritual world. Their heart is fully given to the process of devotional service, Vrata Krishna. And whatever it takes, basically, she's saying, whatever it takes, I'm going to do. So we can keep this prayer and remember, because there are always decisions to make. Should I become comfortable in the material world? Should I give in to my lower nature, right? Because it's always right there. As soon as you turn the light on in a room, dark room, light comes on, how far away is the darkness? Just one flip of the switch. You flip it off and immediately the darkness comes back in. So one has to be very determined to take the devotional service. And we can follow in the footsteps of Rukmini. And now we'll take a few reflections or questions. Yes, Kennedy. We need tech support on quadrant 2, please.
I think I just was too gentle with the button. Hare Krishna. I absolutely adore Rukmini's story, especially the idea that at a certain point, there's no return. You have desired something so deeply in the spiritual realm that you cannot return. But along with that, I do have a question, which is, how do you communicate that to your, for lack of a better term, material well-wishers, that there's nothing there for you anymore?
Chanakya Pandit once said, don't reveal the bottom line of your financial status. You don't have to pull out a balance sheet and show your friends at a party. It's like, here's how much money I have. He said, let them figure it out by the way you live. It's like, how come you never work? I don't know. How come you travel all the time? Like, well, I was like, they tell their friends, he must be really wealthy, the way he lives. And the same thing for devotees. We dedicate more and more of our time. Nobody has to, we don't have to announce it. You have to write it, what is that? Skywriting? the airplane flies across and says, I'm doing devotional service. You could see, you show up and they're always sitting there. They're in front of the deities. They're always chanting. Even they have to work. They got their laptop in the back of the room. They're sitting there chanting, 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 finishing their rounds, despite whatever other things. And everyone starts to figure out, it's like, yeah, I think that's the way they've gone. That's the way they are. When we have some dealings in the material world that are unfinished, we should be, I mean, there are different examples, of course. But for most of us, we have to be a little bit expert in dealing with those who don't have the same context that we have, family members, colleagues, and so forth. We can be very gentle and appreciative of anything they've done for us and continue to do for us. We may also have some duties to do, and we should do them without remonstration, but not give our hearts to it. Bhagavatam says, this is Narada to Yudhishthira, who asked a similar question as you're asking. He said, you should deal officially with such person. They say, you please finish the Swanson report. Please have it on my desk by next week, next Tuesday. And then what do you say? Yes, ma'am. I'll have it ready for you next Tuesday. Very good. Swanson report, no problem. And there's a way in which we deal with the material world as much as we have to, but we don't put our heart in it. And then when the opportunities come, the gaps naturally widen. For instance, going on pilgrimage. It's a big deal because everyone has this sense, I'm in a race. In fact, that's one of the metaphors that's most common for the world. I'm in a race. And like, what happens if you trip? It's like, you're finished. You'll never make it. You didn't make it to the top of the class. You're not going to make it in the world and so forth. Narada Muni says, nonsense. He says, Chekva sudharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajana pakvota patet tato yadi yatra kwa babajam babuda mushakim kovarta apto bhajatam sudharmata. So what if you do make it to the top? I said, what did you get? There's a bunch of other fools at the top too. But if you took a month off to go on the pilgrimage, and everyone says, where were you? It's like, I went to the Holy Land. And it's like, wow. It's like, I wish I could go to the Holy Land too. You could, if you wanted to. So then, we start to notice that, okay, I took a month off for this, and I survived. I came. I was supposed to go to the special dinner for the awards ceremony for the top person in sales, but I didn't go that night because I had an engagement at the temple. It was Janmashtami. And the next week, it's like people start to notice that where you're putting priorities. And then gradually, Krishna gives more opportunities. And just said, okay, you're free to just do devotional service full time, and then you can hold a festival. Hold a little party and invite everybody over and say, yay, let's just do devotional service. Yes.
Thank you for continuing the Rukmini story from last week. I really found it even last week very impactful when you said that, when Rukmini says that rather than lose Krishna, I prefer to die. And you mentioned that that is a price you have to pay to develop relationship with Krishna. I just want to understand, how do we develop that mood, that do or die mood?
Well, Prabhupada says, as I mentioned from Prahlad Maharaj, this is something that comes from great mercy. Not many people have it. It's a rare thing to have that kind of mercy, to have that type of determination in one's heart. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions that if somebody has some determination for devotional service, the the person must have had some association with sadhus. In fact, that's where it really comes from. Mahat sevam dvaramahurva muktes tamo dvaram yoshitam sangi sangam mahantaste samachita prasanta vimanyavak suridak sadhavo ye. Rishabhadeva says, the door to this kind of determination, which is really what liberation means, that I have this desire only for Krishna, it comes from association with the sadhus. If you get association with those who have that, then your heart starts to hanker for it also by their mercy, by the mercy of those who already have it. You were going to say more.
Yeah, no, thank you for the answer. I just want to introduce Isha here. She came to the temple just looking at internet, and she's very interested in Hinduism, and she lived in Haridwar for 1 year in an ashram, and she was looking for association, and she came here today. So I just want to welcome her to the temple.
Isha, where are you from? Hola. So, Isha, yeah, Isha's nice. Both are nice, but Isha's really nice. Because Isha, there's a book we have called the Ishopanishad. It's all about Isha, your namesake. So Isha means the one who controls everything. It's a name for God, Isha. And the Ishopanishad starts with the invocation which said that our source is complete. And everything that comes from our source is also complete. And our relationship with that complete whole is the object of life. And then it goes on to say that everything in the world belongs to Isha. It's owned by and controlled by Isha. It solves a lot of problems because people are always worried about somebody's going to take my land. There's fights over it all the time. Somebody's going to take my land, somebody's going to take this, that, my property. People are very protective. But when you hear this, it's like, oh, it belongs to Isha. Doesn't mean that we don't protect it. We protect it more because it belongs to God. But it's not only owned by, it's also controlled by Isha. And that one can take what one needs in this lifetime, but only tena tyaktena bunjita, only according to what Isha gives us. That's clearly given to us. Magridha kasasuddhanam. And then he says that if you live like this, with Isha consciousness, it's called Ishavasya, idea that God owns everything, and I'm His servant, and I'm just using everything for His service. Then the Isha Upanishad says that you'll never be entangled in the world because of your intention is right. You're living for God. You're not living to covet things for yourself. Then he says that God is far away, but He's also near as well. God's the farthest away from us, but also He's there within our heart always. He's also within every atom. He hears everything that we're thinking. He knows all our intentions. And then it says He's more powerful than any other entity in the world. There may be great controllers in the world who control the sun, the wind, and the rain, but all of them, if they were in a running race, if you set up a 100-meter dash, then Krishna would be to the end before they could start. He's so fast. And they can never catch Him. Nobody can catch Him. And then it says somebody who thinks like that, who sees everything in the world in relationship to Isha, and who sees all beings, whether they be animal, plant, or human, as the sons and daughters of Isha, then that person doesn't have an enmity towards anyone. Even if they misbehave, they think, well, this is just, they're caught up right now, but they're all souls from Isha. They have that vision. So your name, this is means that Krishna is giving you blessings. And the fact that you lived in Haridwar and then you came here looking for some spiritual vibration. It means you're a very sincere soul. And we pray that you find steadiness on the path back to the spiritual world. And we welcome you here. And if there's anything at all we can do for you, we're all of us here at your beck and call. Hare Krishna. Okay. Just have time for a couple more. There's one online at the very top. Bhakta Roman, okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. It was really nice to hear today verse because I was just coming across of teaching of Lord Kapila last week, and I hit that verse that cross corresponds with that one when Devahuti prays to Lord Kapila, and she says that you're the only person who I take shelter, and you are the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. And it looks like in both of these verses, there's Krishna gives us some tools. And coming back to today morning japa, I was walking and I was finding myself that those material thoughts still enters my mind, and which is you realize that you need something to conquer that. You need that axe that will cut gradually those thoughts. Then you have a deeper meditation and you have deeper appreciation to Maha Mantra vibrating you. And every time, even Devahuti here, she was blessed. And at the same time, it was hard for her to accept teachings from her own son. And which is, we say, one more austerity from people to accept, as you said, Sadhu Sangha, accept the Guru is really important in our life, which is you have to be more submissive to get those teachings. So in the end, and you can see in our parampara, like different sages, like Haridas Thakur, he used like 33 million Hare Krishna Maha Mantras, and he actually give that weapon to other people, and they become holy in the end. So it was amazing realization today that we have to use Krishna is the only source of a shelter, and he will give us these weapons to detach us from the material world. Thank you very much.
Haribo. Thank you, Roman. The way that we can avoid material desires, not necessarily by ignoring them or cutting them out, but we have somewhere else to go. If somebody invites you to something you don't want to go to, what do you say? Say, I really want to come, but I got somewhere else to go. So when material desires come, you say, yeah, fine, I understand completely, but I have somewhere else to go. Can't make it this time. Maybe next time. Okay, who is next? Yes, Bhakta Tim.
Hare Krishna. I really like this one, this verse from last week. It's interesting to hear like Rukmini's elevated consciousness. I was instantly thinking of Arjuna, because in Rukmini's case, Krishna is very, very far away, or she doesn't know where he is, and she's riding him. And in Arjuna's case, Krishna is right in front of him. And in Rukmini's case, she's ready to die immediately. Arjuna's case, in the beginning, he's like, oh, well, I'd rather go be like Vyas. I'm going to go be a sage. And it's funny because it's his job to go out and die. And he's like, I'm not going to do it right now, at least. And then Rukmini is already very, very elevated. She's extremely poetic in the way that she talks. And I'm not saying anything bad about Arjuna, but it's just two different, kinds of ways of looking at it and of dealing with Krishna. And in Arjuna's case, the Bhagavad Gita is spoken, so he's kind of getting the ABCs of nature, of the soul, karma yoga, goes through all the yogas and everything else. And then finally, at the end, Arjuna is going to surrender to Krishna. But again, in Rukmini's case, she's already surrendered, and she's so much in love with Krishna already from the get-go. And so you get to see like the mood of the gopis, and so that was really powerful. Thank you.
Thank you. It's like in school when you're doing a mathematics test and you hand in your paper. The teacher tells you ahead of time, I want to see the work. Can't just put the answers. Did you ever get that? The teachers always said that. It's like, I want to see the work. And in Bhagavad Gita, we get to see the work. Because at the end, Arjuna says, okay, I surrender. I understand everything, now I surrender. Rukmini, she's immediately at a different level. Arjuna's at that level for sure, but Bhagavad Gita is meant to show the work. Like, this is what you go through. These are all the explanations so you can get there. And the last one, we have Vaikuntha Nayaka, because we're leaving to go to the Shalabahu Prabhu's son's funeral down in Gilroy, and we have to leave in a couple of minutes. So we'll be departing in just a couple of minutes. Vaikuntha Nayaka Prabhu, so nice to see you from Mysore, home of the Mysore Palace and Mysore Pak. Hare Krishna.
I had a quick realization and a question, but if there's no time for question, we can take it later. My realization was that how powerful this process of Shravanam is, that Rukmini had never seen Krishna. She had only heard about him, and her determination was so strong. And the question, should I go for it? Or
Yeah, why not?
okay. Okay. And the
If
question
Nirupama
was,
comes back in, then I gotta go.
the question was, I was thinking about that rich merchant who went to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and you mentioned about the no return ticket, one leg here, one leg there. But I was thinking, if I were in that merchant's place, probably my reaction would have been the same, right? So am I, or can you elaborate like how as grihasthas, right, we can develop this no return ticket attitude, right? We all also are in one leg here, one leg there. So if you can please elaborate on that a bit.
The Grihastha ashram is the most educational period of one's life. When you get to integrate the principles of Krishna consciousness in real life circumstances, and take this time while you have the vision of both worlds to learn how to deal with ordinary circumstances in a transcendental way. Sometimes people become detached from reality and maybe prematurely say, oh, okay, I'm done with the world. But maybe they have it's possible. Sometimes somebody has a motive, which is okay, that can be worked out. Everyone has to work out everything. But if you're in the Grihastha ashram, be there. Don't be thinking like, oh, I'm nothing, I can't. No, it's an ashrama. It's as valid as all the other ashramas. And in fact, it gives you more opportunity because now you have your hands on all the instruments. You can move them around and then say, how am I going to move them according to Krishna's teachings? And you get to see how the world works and how to use everything in Krishna's service, because you have some things to use in Krishna's service, and you can also see how it is that I'm right in the middle of it, but I don't see it as mine. I'm not attached to it. So we're meant to learn that lesson from the Grihastha ashram. There is no artificial renunciation in anything. I should say there is no effect, there is no fruit from artificial renunciation in any phase of our life. Everything has to be done with a whole heart and organically, and we have to grow into it. So how can you do it? Just follow Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita, or follow the Sri Upanishad, follow in the footsteps of our friend Isha here. Isha vasyamidang sarvam yat kincha jagatyam. I don't have anything. I'm in the midst of everything, but none of it is mine. Who does it belong to? Isha. If you just take that one mantra, and if they have a tattoo parlor in Mysore, which I'm sure they do, you can get it printed. And what do they speak down there? Canada. Yeah, Canada's kind of nice.
Canada.
Language. Yeah, you can have that printed in a Canada language, right, in your arm. And just anytime you're in doubt, it's like, okay. And you'll be good. Hare Krishna. We'll get them together when I come back to Mysore. Thank you very much, everybody. We have to go to this very somber occasion down there to support our very, very dear Shalabahu and his wife Rani. And I talked to them last night, so they're eager for a few of us to come down there. The rest of you, please go on with the morning program, do the Guru Puja and so forth, have prasadam, go in Sankirtan, and we'll meet you back here mañana. Okay? Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev. If you so desire, please let us develop great determination in our practice of devotional service and give us the wherewithal to use this lifetime to develop a taste for hearing about you and for bringing other people to Krishna consciousness. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Or as they say in Japan, Om Tato Sato. And everyone who agrees with this, in whole or in part, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. It was heartfelt meeting this morning.
His Grace Vaisesika Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Off to the races.
Hare Krishna, everyone. I'm sorry to interrupt you all. We aren't done with the morning program. We still have the Kaishora Youth presentation. So I humbly request you all to please take your seats back. Sorry about that.
Hare Krishna, if anyone has the headset, please bring it to the control room. Anyone has the headset?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. So we will start our Guru Puja a little early today because then we are. So Mataji, Prabhuji, can you please put the translation first and then we can come to the. So we'll read together the translation and then we can read the verses. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachimata, the association of Srila Sarup Damodar Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kunda and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you. Even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma, for you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Super Soul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Nam srishtam manumapi shachiputramatra sarupam Shri Rupam Tassa Grajamurupurim Mathurim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivara Maharadhika Madhavasam Pratyasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi He Guru Jnanodadena Bandho Swananda Data Karunaika Sindho Vrindavanasina Hitavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara He Dinabandho Karunaika Sindho Kuru Prasadam May Mandha Mudhe Laksha Parade Bahu Papa Gadhe Tatpada Padmestu Matischa Krishne Naiva Payanti Apachetam Kavayastavesha Brahmayusha Pikritam Ruddha Mudha Smaranta Yantarvahistanubhitam Asubham Vidubban Acharya Chaita Vapusha Swagatim Vyanakti Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sarma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sarma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sarma Rana मोहे सावधान माते बंद मोहे सावधान माते जहाँ सादे भाई ए भवतोरिया जाए जहारा सादे भाई जहारा प्रसादे भाई ए भवतोरिया जाए जहारा प्रसादे भाई कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहाँ होइते कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहाँ कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहाँ होइते कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहाँ होइते गुरुमुख पद्मवक्ष चित्त करिया गुरुमुख पद्मवक्ष गुरुमुख पद्मवक्ष चित्त करिया गुरुमुख पद्मवक्ष चित्त करिया आर ना करे हो मने आशा आर ना करे हो मने आर ना करे हो मने आशा आर ना करे हो श्री गुरु चरणे रते ऐसे उत्तम गते श्री गुरु श्री गुरु चरणे रते ऐश्वर्योत्तम गते श्री गुरु चरणे रते जय प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा जय प्रसाद जय प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा जय प्रसाद पूरे सर्व चक्षुदान दिला दे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिला दे चक्षुदान दिला दे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिला दे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान জ্ঞান বেদে প্রকাশিত দিব্য জ্ঞান প্রেম ভক্তি যাহা হইতে আবেদ বিনাশ যাতে প্রেম ভক্তি যাহা হইতে আবেদ বিনাশ যাতে প্রেম ভক্তি যাহা হইতে আবেদ বিনাশ যাতে প্রেম ভক্তি বেদে গায় যাহার চরিত বেদে গায় যাহার চরিত বেদে গায় যাহার চরিত বেদে গায় শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু অধম জনার বন্ধু শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু অধম জনার বন্ধু লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন লোকনাথ লোকের আহা প্রভু কর দয়া দেহ মোর পদ ছায়া প্রভু কর দয়া আহা প্রভু কর দয়া দেহ মোর পদ ছায়া প্রভু কর দয়া আহা প্রভু কর দয়া দেহ মোর পদ ছায়া আহা প্রভু কর দয়া দেব মোর পদ ছায়া এ বেদান বিশুক ত্রিভুবন বেদান বিশুক ত্রিভুবন ছিল প্রভুপাদ লয়েন শরণ ছিল প্রভুপাদ অতীত পবন জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ কীর্তায় গৌরে হরে হরে বল নিতাই গৌর হরে বল নিতাই গৌর হরে বল হরে বল নিতাই গৌর হরে বল নমঃ বিষ্ণু পদায় কৃষ্ণ প্রস্থায় ভূতলে শ্রীমতে ভক্তিবেদান্ত স্বামী নিতে নামিনে নমঃ বিষ্ণু পদায় কৃষ্ণ প্রস্থায় ভূতলে শ্রীমতে ভক্তিবেদান্ত স্বামী নিতে নামিনে নমস্তে सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात देशतारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी কুকুর কাদান যদি চাও হে কলে কুকুর কাদান যদি চাও হে কলে যুগ পাবন কলে ভয় নাশন শেষকে নন্দন গাও হে কলে যুগ পাবন কলে ভয় নাশন শেষকে নন্দন গাও হে গদাধর মাদন নিতায়ের প্রাণ ধন অদ্বৈতের প্রপূজিত গৌরা গদাধর মাদন নিতায়ের প্রাণ ধন অদ্বৈতের প্রপূজিত গৌরা নিমায় বিশ্বম্ভর শ্রীনিবাস ঈশ্বর ভক্ত সমূহ চিত্ত চৌরা নিমায় বিশ্বম্ভর শ্রীনিবাস ঈশ্বর ভক্ত সমূহ চিত্ত চৌরা নদিয়া শাসধর মায়াপুর ঈশ্বর নাম প্রবর্তন সুর নদিয়া শাসধর মায়াপুর ঈশ্বর নাম প্রবর্তন সুর গৃহীজন শিক্ষক নাসিকুল নায়ক মাধব রাধা ভাব পুর গৃহীজন শিক্ষক নাসিকুল নায়ক মাধব রাধা ভাব সার্বভৌম শোধন গজপতি তারণ রামানন্দ কোশন বীর সার্বভৌম শোধন গজপতি তারণ রামানন্দ কোশন বীর রূপানন্দ বর্ধন সনাতন পালন হরিদাস মদন ধীর রূপানন্দ বর্ধন সনাতন পালন ব্রজরস ভাবন দুষ্টমত সাতন কপটি বিঘাতন কাম ব্রজরস ভাবন দুষ্টমত সাতন কপটি বিঘাতন কাম শুদ্ধ ভক্ত পালন শুষ্ক জ্ঞান তারণ ছল ভক্তি দূষণ রাম শুদ্ধ ভক্ত পালন শুষ্ক জ্ঞান তারণ ছল ভক্তি দূষণ রাম কলে কুকুর কাদান যদি চাও হে কলে কুকুর কাদান যদি চাও হে কলে যুগ পাবন কলে ভয় নাশন কৃষকে নন্দন গাও হে কলে যুগ পাবন शेषते नंदन गाओ है शेषते नंदन हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaur Hariva, 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 Nitai Gaur Hariva, Nitai Gaur Hariva. Nitai Gaur Hariva, 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 Nitai Gaur Hariva. Nitai Gaur Hariva, 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 Nitai Gaur Hariva. Jai Vishnu
বিষ্ণুপাদ পরমাংশ পরিবাচক আচার্য অষ্টোত্তর শত কৃষ্ণ কৃপাশ্রীমূর্তি শিল অভয় চরণারবিন্দ ভক্তি বেদান্ত স্বামী মহারাজ শিল প্রভুপাদ কে ইস্কন বিবিধি সংস্থাপক আচার্য শিল প্রভুপাদ কে জয়ং বিষ্ণুপাদ পরমাংশ পরিবাচক আচার্য অষ্টোত্তর শত কৃষ্ণ কৃপাশ্রীমূর্তি শিল ভক্তি সিদ্ধান্ত সরস্বতী ঠাকুর মহারাজ শিল প্রভুপাদ কে জয়ং বিষ্ণুপাদ পরমাংশ সাক্ষাৎ বৈরাগ্য মূর্তয় শিল গৌরকৃষ্ণদাস বাবাজি মহারাজ কে জয়ং বিষ্ণুপাদ পরমাংশ সচ্চিদানন্দ শিল ভক্তি বিনোদ ঠাকুর কে জয়ং বিষ্ণুপাদ পরমাংশ বৈষ্ণব সার্বভৌম শিল জগন্নাথ দাস বাবাজি মহারাজ কে ব্রহ্মমধ্য গৌরীয় সম্প্রদায় আচার্য পরম্পরা কে অনন্ত কোটি বৈষ্ণব বৃন্দ কে नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर के श्री रूप श्री सनातन श्री जीव श्री गोपाल भट्ट श्री रघुनाथ दास श्री रघुनाथ भट्ट सर गोस्वामी प्रभु के प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद के श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन के श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम के श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम के श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम के श्री गंगा माई जमुना माई के श्री भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी वृंदा देवी के ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम के हरिनाम महासंकीर्तन यज्ञ के ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन सिंह मान महाप्रभु श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण सिंह आरती की श्री श्री शिल प्रभुपाद गुरु पूजा आरती के आरती अंशग्रहण कर सकल गौर भक्तवृंद के निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, anyone here is here to announce, make the announcement? You were the announcer. Also a special prayer for Jackson, Shalva, your son.
Hare Krishna. We would like to welcome everybody here to today's morning program. So, special welcome to Ishadji. And so today's program started with a Japa circle under the guidance of His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, followed by Srimad Bhagavatam class where he discussed the prayers of Srimati Rukmini Devi and how she expressed her heart in separation from Krishna and eagerly desired his association. So we thank Vaisesika Prabhu in his absence by loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Following that, we had Guru Puja led by His Grace Kuladip Pran Prabhu. So thank you, Prabhu. And today is the funeral ceremony of Shalabhahu Prabhu's son, Jackson Kobil Prabhu. So we can all offer prayers and request to the Lordships for the safe journey of that dear soul. And we can chant a Mahamantra as a form of prayer, everybody together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you again for joining. Mataji, will we have presentation by Keshura? Okay. So Mataji can come and talk about Bhakti community. Pavni Bhakti Mataji, yes. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you everyone. Bhakti community is an online community for spiritual seekers. And whenever you give books, please also share Bhakti community with them. We have 3 series going on. in Bhakti community these days. Monday we have a series on mind, and we did a session called How to Win the Battles of Mind on this week, Monday. So if you feel that your newcomers are more interested to know about mind and Bhagavad Gita, that's the session you should introduce them to. On Thursday, we are doing a series called Discover Yourself. It's a 8-week series. We completed the 3rd week on consciousness, the missing link. And if newcomers join, they can join any part of the series. They don't need to start from the first chapter. So if Thursday is a day it's good for them, please introduce Discover Yourself to them. And we also have a new series going on for the corporate audience called Success Sadhana. And the series name is Inner Harmony. And we did a session on self-awareness and self-realization. So I think this is a 8-part series, girls. Do you remember? 8 or 6? 6-part series. So as you can see, Kennedy and Vicky are our main volunteers. That's why I didn't even remember the series numbers. So this is a wonderful session to join, and especially if you are working in a corporate, and if you think you want to introduce your corporate to the community, this is the perfect way. We have a very structured way to get in how you should talk to your HR, how you should talk to your group, how to get them on the community in a very non-religious way. So that's what we do on Fridays. And on Sunday, we do a women's circle. We are doing chapter number 11. Universal form. So that's also going on 8 o'clock in the morning. If you have somebody who is interested, introduce them to me or to the community, and we'll onboard them to the various programs. So as you can see, we have non-stop Sankirtan going on almost each day in the week. So please introduce your newcomers to the community by just asking them to sign up on bhakticommunity.com. We have a very simple form. They will just ask their email and phone number, and we'll onboard them onto the community. And we also request the volunteers who are giving books to also join the community and be there with your newcomers, so that they have somebody they can resonate with and they have a face with that. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So now is the prasadam time. We can sing the prasadam prayers together. Okay, sorry. So, Hare Krishna, Malini Mataji, are you there online?
Thank you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for your association. I don't know all the spots, but I'm sure many devotees are going in the evening for Bhagavatam distribution. We have on Indian stores, a lot of people coming and accepting Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Achyuta Kumar Prabhu and many other teams, they are doing it. So if you want to go locally to Indian stores, you can join us. I want to quickly share two things from last week. So one was a person named Gilbert, whom Vaishnav Toshni and Adin met in Campbell Farmer Market. That was last Sunday. And this person is really ripe. He wants to take it all in. He was saying that I'm very ignorant. I want to learn more. He was so humble and down to earth. He came to the temple the same day, Sunday evening, and he accepted Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. He is very eager to learn. He also came for Bhakti Community's in-person program that was yesterday at Pavni Bhakti Mataji's home. And he was very happily dancing and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we can see the power of just going out and sharing this message on behalf of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Guru Parampara. That was one thing. And secondly, our Shashi Shekhar Prabhu, he wanted to go to the, there are so many movies. This movie has come out, as we all know, which mentions about Bhagavad Gita. There's so much publicity about it. So Shashi Shekhar Prabhu put a table along with Krishna Sharma Prabhu, and they distributed Bhagavad Gita to all the people coming out from the theater. That was yesterday. So one cop one cop came to stop them so that they can't do it there, but he himself ended up taking a Bhagavad Gita from them. We have the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have the protection of Nrsingadev when we go out on Sankirtan. So other spots for today, we have many spots nearby. There's Mountain View downtown. Vaishnav Toshni Prabhu is taking a team there. And thank you, Shubham Prabhu. So yeah, Mountain View downtown, Shubham, and Vaishnav Toshni Prabhu is taking a team there if you want to join. And then the second team is actually going to theaters in San Jose, wherever this movie is being shown. So Manjari Gopika Mataji will take the team there. You can contact her or Yashoda Priya Mataji also. So, the third team which is going nearby is Spanish Sankirtan. Adin Prabhu is taking a team there, so along with many other devotees. So you can go, and if you want to try your Spanish speaking skills, you can go join them. You can learn from them, even if you don't know. And then one team is going to Napa Valley. We have a jazz festival, music festival there. So tens of thousands of people will be there. So Krishna Sakha Prabhu and myself will be going there. So yeah, these are the updates for Sankirtan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So now the announcement of cooks. Today's prasadam has been prepared by Her Grace Sanspriya Mataji and His Grace Shyam Bhakta Prabhu. So big round of applause for both the cooks. So now we'll chant the prasadam prayers together.
So, as Vaisesika Maharaj says that this is a very special prayer, and we can see the picture of Mahaprabhu honoring prasadam among all the devotees, among all his associates. I don't know exactly what pastime is this. Maybe Beda Kirtan pastime, where Mahaprabhu was sitting in a little bit elevated space and the other devotees are sitting in line. Beda Kirtan pastimes. I think it's Madhya Lila 16, 17 chapter before the Vrindavan pastimes. So beautiful pastimes are narrated in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat about prasadam. So I think His Grace Radha Prabhu will bring some of these nectarian pastimes in our Sunday classes, so stay tuned. So let's sing this special prayer which is written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur together. Sharira Vidya Jadendriya Tahe Kal Jive Fele Vishaya Sagore Tar Madhe Jivayati Lobhamay Sudurmati Take Jeta Kothina Samsare Krishna Varadayamay Korivare Jivajay Saprasadanna Dilabhai Shayanamrita Pao Shri Radha Krishna Guna Gao Premera Ko Shri Chaitanya Nitai Premera Ko Shri Chaitanya Nitai Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Salva Punyavatam Rajan Vishwasanaiva Jayate Prasade Sarva Dukkhana Anirasya Pajayate Prasanna Chetasi Asu Buddhya Paryavatishtate Tayopa Bhukta Sagandha Vasa Alankara Charchita Uchishta Bhojinam Dasa Stava Mayam जय महे भगवत श्री महाप्रसाद की जय श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन महाप्रभु लक्ष्मी नरसिंह महाप्रसाद की जय. So the prasadam will be served in the parking area, right? I think so. Yeah, picnic area. Okay, so please come and honor prasadam. This is a special prasadam because we will be breaking our fast after yesterday's Ekadasi today. Hare Krishna. Thank you.